Well, welcome to our live webinar 2.0 series. My name is Nicola Pomponio. Thank you so much for taking the time to log in. The 2.0 series takes a closer look at the smaller production wines within Freixenet Mionetto USA. We are so excited to be able to virtually travel to Italy. Today, we review the IL collection, which is under the umbrella of Mionetto. We are joined today by our own Giulia Reintjes, brand manager for the IL collection. Welcome, Giulia.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for having me again. I'm the brand manager for Mionetto. I've been with Freixenet Mionetto for about 5 years, and I had the great opportunity to be working at the winery at Mionetto and get some insights on the IL collection. So thank you for picking me to talk about these wines, and I hope this is going to be fun for everyone.
Fantastic. Giulia, where does the IL collection come from?
So the IL collection, as you mentioned, is under the umbrella of Mionetto. It's produced at Mionetto at the winery. So all of these wines are being produced in Valdobbiadene, and the grapes are sourced from the Veneto area. Both the Prosecco and the Moscato grapes come from Veneto in around Valdobbiadene, so about 45 minutes from Venice. And the Prosecco is going to be DOC, and the Moscato is an IGT Veneto. So both grapes from the Veneto area. And as I mentioned, the IL collection is under the umbrella of Mionetto. And Mionetto is kind of like the they're innovators in bubbles and specifically in Prosecco, and they represent all types of Prosecco bubbles that you can find from Italy. They have the IL collection, which is the easier wine, the more approachable bubbles. Then they have Mionetto, of course, which everyone knows, our fun Brut Prestige. And then they also have the luxury line, which is kind of more the high end of Prosecco that comes from the DOCG area, more refined. And they even have a Cartizze, which is kind of like the top of the top, the best of the best in Prosecco. So Mionetto has a Prosecco for everyone, for every consumer that we have out here in the US. And these IL bubbles are just super fun, super delicious, and super approachable.
Giulia, what does IL mean? And can you tell us more about the Prosecco DOC appellation and Veneto IGT appellations?
Absolutely. So IL in Italian means the. So these are the Prosecco and the Moscato, the one and only. And that's because Mionetto is one of the oldest Prosecco houses in Valdobbiadene. They've been innovators with the Charmat method, and they can claim that their core is Prosecco and bubbles. So that's why they decided to call one of their lines the line. And that's how we have the Prosecco and the Moscato. In terms of DOC and IGT, these are different types of quality levels in Italy. IGT means Indicazione Geografica Tipica, which is indicates that the grapes come from a specific geographic region area in Italy, and that's the first level of quality that you can get in terms of wines in Italy. The slightly higher level is going to be the DOC, which is the Denominazione di Origine Controllata. So here you have the origin of the grapes is from a specific region, but it's also controlled by an entity usually called the consortium. And then the highest level is going to be the DOCG, which is Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita, where the same authority, the consortium, also guarantees that the quality that the juice that you're getting is of a certain guaranteed quality.
Fantastic. The I noticed there's a cork enclosure on the 750 and a cap there on the 375.
Yes. So with our Il Prosecco, we have two different sizes. The 375 has a crown cap and the 750 has a mushroom cork. And this is because Il Prosecco was initially, well, the whole Il line was initially launched as a very approachable type of bubbles, and they were frizzante, which in Italian means that it is slightly less bubbly than a spumante. So in a spumante, when the bottles have a mushroom cork, the pressure inside the bottle is usually around 5 bars. While in the crown cap, in our crown cap, the frizzante version, the pressure is between 2.5 and 3.5 bars. So there's a little bit less pressure. The bubbles are a little less intense, but this doesn't take away from the deliciousness of the juice of the wine. It's just a slightly different style for consumers that may not like having a persistent perlage in their sparkling wines.
Great. Let's taste the wines.
Yes, why not? So I'm gonna actually open the 375, and I have a corkscrew, so I'm gonna use this one to open it. Hopefully. Here we go. Perfect. So, Il Prosecco. As usual, a white wine glass is preferred to taste bubbles in general, and especially our Prosecco, because it allows the aromas to kind of like circle inside the glass and then come out, and you feel them really well in the nose. So Il Prosecco has typical aromas of a Prosecco product. It has apple, white flowers, a little bit of pear. And again, apple, white peach, very floral, very fruity, super refreshing. And as I mentioned, the bubbles here are a little less intense than what you'll see when I open the Moscato, but it's still there. But overall, an amazing, delicious Prosecco. And the same way as Mionetto, Il is also 100% Glera, which allows the wine to really have the perfect Prosecco floral and fruity notes.
And harvest should begin soon on that. Is that right?
Yes. So we're now at the end of August, and usually harvest for the ale grapes is at the beginning of September. So the winery is getting ready to start picking those grapes and producing the next batch of Il Prosecco.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Is this a Brut Style, correct?
Yes, it's a Brut Style. It has a slightly lower sugar content than most Proseccos, which gives it, makes it very easy to drink and allows you to enjoy a couple more glasses than when you have like that sweeter style Prosecco.
Yeah, and it's also really great when they're out selling the wine to talk to mixologists about this, because that less sweetness, when you do add a spirit to it, spirits tend to be a little bit sweeter. Therefore, you're looking for something that's a little drier, and it's hard to find drier Proseccos at that price point. So that's also another great way to sell the wine. Let's taste the Il Moscato.
Yes. So here we're gonna have a mushroom cork, and now since Il is a very fun line of bubbles, I'm gonna pop the cork because that's a lot more fun. Woo!
That was awesome. That's the first time we've done that one. That's great.
Now, Moscato. This is going to be 100% Moscato grapes, and the Moscato grapes are traditionally a very fruity, more on a sweeter end type of grape. They have a very specific taste profile on its own. And our Moscato is considered more on the sweeter end. Also, it has about 70 grams per liter. But this is the style of the wine. Every Moscato is going to have a little bit more sugar in it, and it's going to be a little more sweeter. And the grape works best when it has this type of sugar level and this type of sweetness. So let's taste it. I smell a lot of peaches, apricots even, and it's very floral. It's a very nice floral nose. And very delicious. Also on the palate, I get those same juicy peaches, apricots, a little bit more of a ripe apple, and just very nice, delicious bubbles.
On the shelf, on the virtual shelf, or on a restaurant menu, I mean, these are wines that need to be explained because they pair so well with desserts and cheeses. This wine is just, and for the price point of this wine, to be able to pair it with those types of pairings, it's great. It's a great money maker for on-premise, but also for on-premise, I think it's great to mention that anytime you know, a shelf talker needs to be added, or maybe even a handwritten one.
I'm sorry, Nick, I lost you for a second.
Oh, no problem. I was just talking about how well it pairs with fruit tart desserts and hard cheeses, but we can move on.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love the Moscato as my dessert wine. And whenever I have friends over and they bring over ice cream or like a cake, I always try to pop a bottle of Moscato, and everyone always loves it. And they can't believe how approachable and affordable this wine is.
Excellent, excellent. And if you have any questions, go ahead and please type them into the chat, and we'll ask Giulia. Just speaking of pairings, Giulia, what do you pair? Tell me a little bit about what you would pair with both wines.
So Prosecco is a very versatile wine, and this Il Prosecco is very easy to drink. It's something that I would enjoy probably throughout my whole meal. In Italy, we do drink Prosecco for aperitivo, so my best pairing would be a nice charcuterie board with some hard cheeses, some Parmesan, some prosciutto, and some nuts. But I think it would go amazingly well with a nice chicken or some fish. And as I was mentioning, the Moscato, I would say, is a beautiful dessert wine. And I think one time I made a Moscato sorbet with lemon sorbet, and everyone loved it. It was delicious.
Wonderful. I had a couple questions, and one of them was, I think, just a re-explanation, just so everyone understands. So the 375 ml on the Prosecco is frizzante, and the 750 is fully sparkling. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, the 375 is gonna be the frizzante style, so slightly less intense bubbles, while the 750 for both the Prosecco and the Moscato are fully sparkling, so full bubbles in your glass.
Okay, great. That's great. I also have a great recipe that somebody put up on the chat. Try Il Moscato, 2 parts passion fruit juice on the rocks with some crushed red chilies. It's calling it fire and ice. Thanks, Doug. That sounds delicious.
Sounds delicious indeed.
Yeah, it does. Prosecco is DOC, Moscato IGT. You explained that earlier. Can you maybe just go a little deeper into what IGT means versus DOC?
Absolutely. So IGT means Indicazione Geografica Tipica, and it identifies products and wines that come from a specific region, a specific geographical area. When we move up to the DOC. So the IGT is the first step of quality that you can find in wine. The second step, a little slightly higher, is going to be the DOC, which is Denominazione di Origine Controllata. And here you're going to have a consortium, an authority that controls and puts a stamp on the product. So for example, all of our Proseccos are going to have this little tag here that is given by the consortium, the authority on Prosecco, to certify that the product that you're producing is a true Prosecco coming from the Prosecco area in Italy.
So these wines are, in terms of price points, are on the lower end on price points. Just out of curiosity, who's overseeing these wines? Who makes them?
So these wines are produced at Munetto at the winery, and they're looked by Alessio Del Savio, the winemaker at Munetto. He follows all of the production of all wines for all the different lines. So he's going to be making sure that the quality is there and his expertise is put in all of the different lines that Munetto produces, from the Il Prosecco for a more approachable palate, a younger audience, more affordable, to the prestige line with the Prosecco, the DOC Brut and the organic, and then going all the way up to the Val Lubbiadene from the luxury collection, and the Cortizze also from the luxury collection. So he oversees all of the Prosecco production, and also the Moscato. So he's in charge of all the bubbles at Munetto.
That's great, because when we're out selling and when we're out talking about these wines, we can let people know that the Superiore as well as the Cortizze are made by our Alessio, and the Il Moscato is also made by Alessio. So there's not like an assistant or somebody on the side making this wine or being bottled somewhere else. This is made at the house of Munetto, where Prosecco was born. So that's a great way to sell. Is there any other questions in the chat? Let's see, one just popped up. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Il Prosecco is more profitable for the retailer too. Okay, good. He's got some Nielsen numbers. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time, Giulia. It was really great to talk about these wonderful Il Moscato and Il Prosecco. By the way, the blue and the yellow, they pop on shelves. They're really beautiful. They really stand out. They're really gorgeous bottles. The wines are fantastic. I thank everyone for joining us on our 2.0 series. We will talk to you next Friday on the next one. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Giulia, so much, and I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sticking with me for this 20 minutes, and hope you're all gonna be retrying the Il line, both Prosecco and Moscato, and remind yourself of how amazing these bubbles are.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Salute. Cheers.
Cheers. Chin chin.